Hi there. In this video, I'll be using Nortta to connect my Laravel app with a Notion workspace. In front of me, I have Nortta's landing page, a Notion workspace I have created earlier, and a fresh installation of Laravel that's deployed to demo.nortta.com. I also have a view of my local database, which I'll be referring to a little bit later. To start, I'm just going to log into my Nortta account. And since it's a new account, it's going to present me with a set of instructions. Step one, I'm going to head over to my integrations under Notion and create a new integration. I'm going to call it demo. I want to make sure that there are no unnecessary permissions. So we only need read content permission and no user information is needed to create this integration. It will give us a token and I'm going to copy that and paste it in Nortta. This will allow Nortta to read pages from your Notion workspace. Next step, we want to tell Nortta which pages to look at. And to do that, we need to head over to our Notion workspace, which I already have open. I'm just going to reload it so that the integration we created will show up correctly. The important note here is that we want to choose a page that is at the root level of our workspace. For example, this page is not at the root level. It has a parent, which is FAQ, but FAQ doesn't have a parent, so it is at the root level. I'm going to copy its link, but before pasting it into Nortta's field, I'm going to head here and look for the integration we created, which was called demo. And I'm going to add that here. We basically told Notion that it's okay to share FAQ and anything that is under it with Nortta. And I'm going to paste the URL that I copied here. You'll notice that we have a green check mark here, which means that Nortta is now connected with Notion. Next step, we want to connect Nortta with our Laravel app. To do that, I'm going to follow the instructions again. First step, Nortta comes with a Laravel adapter. It's open source. Main purpose of it is to establish that connection between your app and Nortta so that they can communicate securely. I'm going to install this on my local version of my project. And you notice that I have two terminals. The one at the left-hand side is the one on my local machine. The right-hand side one is my production environment where demo.nortta.com is. And yeah, I'll be deploying the app to this production environment shortly. Before doing that, let's go back to the instructions again. Next step is for us is to run PHP artisan migrate. I'm going to do that on my local machine again. And you notice that it created a Nortta pages table. So if I head to my database view, local database view, you would see that we have Nortta pages here, which is a very simple table that Nortta will be filling up later, not here on our local machine, but in our production environment. So to fill up my local machine as a next step, I'm just going to run a seeder. I'm going to run PHP artisan db seed. I'm going to pass the class. It's called Nortta Laravel seeders page seeder. This is completely optional. I just wanted to fill up my local database so that I can show something here. This filled up my local database with 10 pages, 10 dummy pages. But still, obviously, if I go back to my Laravel app, even if I go to the local version, there's nothing that would show up here until we go and implement something in our Laravel app. Now, I have prepared a couple of routes before recording this demo. One is an index route and the other one is a show route. The index route, the goal of it is to list all the pages, or what I've called here, all the questions that we seeded just now. The show route is intended to display individual pages or individual questions. I'm gonna head over to the controller. You will notice that it's the typical controller that you're used to in your own applications. We're using a Blade template here, questions index, and we're passing it a list of all questions that have a parent. And this is so that we don't take the high level, the root level page, but we take all the pages that are under it. And then we have the show action, which returns the show view and then pass a page model as a question. Now, what I want to point out here is that this page model that we have here came with the Laravel adapter that we installed. And it's really just a simple Laravel model. Nothing special about it. You can extend it if you need to. You can even implement a brand new one. You don't really have to use this model. You just want to have a model that works with this database structure. Next, let's also take a quick look at the views that we are using from this controller. So I'm gonna head over to my views, and you notice that we have this questions folder. I have index and show, both of which extend the layout view. And in my layout view, all I've done is I've just added Tailwind's CDN link here. And I'm using the typography plugin and the prose class, which will do some nice formatting of text so that it doesn't look so plain. And then inside my index, I'm just looping through all those questions or all those pages and having a link to each individual question. And in my show page, I have the title of each question and I have the body of that question. And what I want to point out here is that I'm making sure that the body is not being escaped, because the body will contain HTML and we want to make sure that the HTML gets rendered. One last piece to mention here is that there is no requirement for using Blade templates here. We could technically use Inertia, we could use Vue or React or any other tech that we wanted for our front end. Again, this is just really a plain, simple Laravel model, and we could do it however that we prefer to use it. Now, after I uncommented these two routes, if I head back to my browser on my local machine, you would notice that I have all these pages listed here. This is my index route, and then if I click on one of them, this is my show route where we see the content of individual pages. Now, I want to deploy this to my production environment before we go to the next step on Nortta. So I'm just gonna say set up Nortta. I'm gonna push that. I have auto deployment set up in the background, so the changes that I push should appear in my production environment shortly. While that is happening, let's head back here and remember that we need to run PHP Artisan migrate, and we need to run that in our production environment as well. Assuming that the changes have made it here, I'm just gonna run PHP Artisan migrate here as well in my production environment, and you notice that Nortta pages table is created. Next, I'm gonna click done and follow the next step. This command, again coming with the adapter that we installed earlier, will connect Nortta with your app. The important note here is that this must be run in an environment that is accessible online, that Nortta can connect to. So if you run it on your local machine, you'll probably get an error. But if you run it in an environment where Nortta can access, then we should be okay. So I'm gonna run that in my production environment. You'll notice that in the background, it generated a key and exchanged it with Nortta, so that from this point onward, every communication between these two is secure. I'm gonna head to the next step, and you'll notice that we now have two green check marks. Nortta can pull pages from Notion, and Nortta can push pages to your app. Before pressing the sync button, which will do that syncing, I'm gonna head to this demo URL online and then reload my page. And you would notice that I have no pages appearing just yet. I'm gonna press that sync button, and this should take a couple of seconds. Nortta is calling Notion API and pulling those pages and then pushing them to your app. You'll notice that we have all these pages synced. And if I head back to the app and reload the page, everything shows up here, and I could start clicking on them, and then you'll notice that they show up here. Now, it may be not ideal for us to need to come back to Nortta every single time to press the sync button after we make changes in Notion. To fix that, or to make that easier, Nortta comes with a browser extension that we can install. When you click on this little browser extension link, there are again instructions to follow. The first step is to install the extension. I have already installed it here. The next step is to click on this connect button, and this will basically instruct the extension to know that it should use this account that you're logged into. You'll notice that a green check mark appears here as well. And now if I go to Notion, and if I reload my page here, you will notice that we now have a new sync button appearing at the top. I'm gonna head over to one of these pages, and let's say here, if it says Nortta does 3 things, I'm gonna change this to 4 things, and I'm gonna underline it. Notice that it started syncing in the background, and without me needing to click this button really. And now if I head back to my app, and if I reload this page, and if I go to how does Nortta work, you'll notice that we have 4 appearing here. Again, I will just go back here. I'll change this back to 3, and syncing happened in the background. I come back here, reload the page, takes a little while, and then it is 3 now. And yeah, that's really the idea behind Nortta. Hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching.